Did you know that one pessimistic thought can slash your future by over 30%? In a study of sales agents, those who experienced setbacks and labeled them as personal failures sold 37% less and were twice as likely to quit. Now, imagine what one sentence in your head might be costing you. Our brains react about 2 times stronger to negative comments as opposed to positive ones. That's why, if you guys have ever had somebody say something bad about you, it seems to stick so much in your head. Studies also show that replaying problems in your head over and over again make you worse at solving them. And lastly, a meta-analysis shows us that people who are more scared of failing, having that fear of failure, are going to have a higher probability of procrastinating the problem. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what is Elon talking about? What are all of these points? Your negative thoughts don't just hurt your mood. They hurt your performance. They hurt how you think, and they hurt the results that you get in your life. I always talk about the importance of how you think and always, trying to get good perspectives out of things, right? Something bad happens to you, being able to reframe it and thinking about how it can help you is extremely important. But I wanted some statistics for you guys to understand really how bad it could be. That's the point of the intro of this video. But a couple of things for you guys to consider is this is not just, 20-year-old Elon talking about this, although, I mean, technically it is, right? But I'm saying there's science, there's evidence for this stuff. Everything that I mentioned was read from an article that I researched, that I looked into. So I need you guys to understand this first and foremost. This is not woo woo, this is scientifically backed. Now, it's easy for me to talk about these things, but you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Elon, what's the next step? Here are some ways to get over these. First of all, it's being clear on the things you might be bad at or you might be struggling with. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take the perspective of somebody who is always saying to themselves, hey, I'm bad at this thing. They might have a friend over and they're like, you know, do you mind maybe helping me with, I don't know, this thumbnail, or do you mind helping me with this video editing? And you say, no, I'm bad at this thing. I don't know how to use the internet. I don't know how to do this. All these excuses, and it makes you have a self-fulfilling prophecy. You constantly telling yourself that, hey, okay, I'm not good at this thing, is making you and your brain think, okay, if I can just keep saying I'm not good at this thing, I'm not going to try. And then in turn, if I'm not going to try, I'm not going to get the results. And if I don't get the results, I'm not good at this thing, right? So make it clear. I want you guys to write down something that you guys struggle with. Whether it's been struggling with, maybe you want to get better at, write down something and then write down yet next to it. So what you can do is, I don't know how to use the internet yet. I don't know how to edit yet. What this will do is it's going to make you think that, okay, I don't know how to do it yet, which means I have to get to it and I'm going to learn how to do it. And me personally, I really feel like I can learn anything in the world. I mean, if you give me 10 years, I can, and I'm studying, I'm learning about this thing. I really don't think there's very many limiting factors to what I can accomplish. Now, me saying this makes me optimistically think that, you know what, I can go after whatever I want. If I want to learn about this thing, I'm going to do it, right? And some of you guys listening to this might be thinking, it's like, oh, you know what, he can't do this, he can't do that. And maybe in your own head, you're like, I've never been good at the internet. It's not the fact that my beliefs aren't good. It's just the fact that my brain doesn't work that way. My internet isn't like, I'm just not good at this thing. But, and I understand that everybody has different case scenarios, right? However, I truly believe that there have been people in worse situations than you that have done better for themselves. And the whole idea of this exercise in retrospect, it's not the yet that's solving everything. It's the idea that you can do things that's helping you. Once you reframe things to, I don't know how to use the internet, so I don't know how to use the internet yet, it gives your brain and it gives you an opportunity to be like, hey, I don't know how to use it yet. Maybe this can be an exciting thing. Maybe actually, if I can learn how to use the internet, I can finally start, texting Aunt Kathy. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of opportunities to be had, and I don't blame anybody for not being able to do these things because I feel like as a society and as, I guess, individuals as well, we're so easily reinforced by things. It's like if you don't know how to do this thing, there's always a way around it, right? Instead of just having to, strap on your boots and have to do this thing first and foremost and, get it out of the way. It's like, you know what? I don't know how to use the internet yet, so I'm gonna use it as an excuse. And you know what? Fine, he's using the internet, but I don't need to do it. I can do it the old way. I can do it this way. And actually listening to something interesting Andy Frisella was talking about, but it was the idea that of like these people that don't evolve. quote unquote, right? But like the people that, before the internet came around, they're like, yeah, that's never, that's stupid. Like, why would anybody want to do that? And then once it started becoming popular, those people still didn't learn how to do it. And they're like, eventually it's going to go away. And now it's everything and they're left behind. So keeping up with what's going on and just knowing that your thoughts play an extremely, extremely vital part of the things you do. You might not think about it, but if you might have some floating thoughts going around, if that makes sense. So I'm not saying you wake up every day and you're like, I cannot use the internet, and that's your big thought of the day, right? But that's not what happens. What usually happens is you go throughout your day and you're like, I got to go work and then, I got to get lunch. And then while you're on your lunch break, you're using the internet and then you really want to use it for this thing, but you don't know how to yet. I'm joking, but you don't know how to use it, and it's a very like small lingering thought that like, oh damn it, if I know how to use the internet, that would whatever, and then you find a way around it. And I understand that if there are ways around it, then it might make logical sense for you to just keep doing like the ways around it if you can. But how much easier would your life be if you learned this thing? In this case, again, we're using the internet. Like for me, I mean, I use the internet for everything. Yeah, I can find ways around doing something, right? Instead of having to text my friend, I can go find him outside of his lecture hall that I know he's in, right? But there are ways around it, but what's the most optimal? What's the fastest? What's the best way for you to do it? And it's really thinking about the things that you tell yourself. I mean, it is huge. I had Derek Sivers on my podcast, and a lot of our conversation was just absolutely incredible. It was just about how we think the way we do, why we think the way we do, our beliefs, our perspectives, all these things. And something he brought into my attention, which was amazing, was this idea of just thinking about, your beliefs, why you believe these things, etc., in whatever realm of life, right? Work, politics, fun, all of these things. If you can actually think about these things to yourself, okay, why do you find journaling fun, right? You might not even have thought about it, but you're like, I kind of like it. And then you realize, I find it fun because I'm kind of by myself and maybe I don't like being around people. And then once you get that thought, you're like, wait, why don't I like being around people? And you're like, oh, actually, I've always been a little bit more introverted, and maybe it's just that's kind of who I am, and I force it when I'm around my friends. I act like I'm an extrovert, but I'm really not. And you're like, wait a second. If I'm not an extrovert and I'm okay being an introvert, then I can keep doing the things that I love and not have to worry about them. And I know this thought seems kind of like scattered around, but what you guys need to realize is once you understand this thing, instead of having to think about, you're journaling and you're having a good time, you're like, oh my God, I'm having a good time. I'm just by myself. This is fun, right? You've thought about it. I think being able to think about why you think about things, if that makes sense, is extremely important, which is why, I brought up this example of saying get. If you think the way you do and say, I can't use the internet, well, why do you think that way? Oh, well, I lack the skills. I've never learned. Well, why haven't you learned? I'm just not good at that kind of stuff. I don't know how to use technology. I don't know. Well, why don't you really know? Like, did you at least try? Yeah, I mean, I tried a couple things and like they didn't work out, so I kind of just gave up altogether. So okay, well, what if you put 100 hours into this thing? I know 100 hours is a big example. What if you could put 100 hours into this? Another principle I want to talk about that Charlie Munger always says is inversion thinking. And it's not like invert it, right? If you guys, instead of thinking about, because we're talking about how to get out of this trap of the way of your thinking and how it affects you, if you want to guarantee like a good result, right? You might say, oh, here's ABC. But us humans, we're really good at finding the bad. Like that's something that I've realized. And even in this example, it's perfect. So instead of thinking, okay, how can I make sure that I can use the internet very easily and I have all the skills necessary to it? Think to yourself, what would I have to do to just be the worst on the internet to make sure that I never know, that I never learn, etc. So then you start listing, A, never use the internet. B, whenever given an opportunity, always say no. Why would you want to learn about the internet? All of these different points of, you not wanting to learn about the internet, you doing X, Y, Z, and then you just flip it around, right? You think, okay, well, if in order to fail, I need to never take opportunities from people trying to teach me about the internet, maybe the flip side of that is when people offer some help or maybe offer me some guidance, I should take it, right? So thinking about that, I think it's a very interesting topic as well, just inverting things. Hey guys, we will get back to the episode in 1 second. Really quickly, I wanted to say that for those of you who want to support my mission of helping millions of people around the world with mindset, you now can. I have started a private mindset community where you can meet like-minded people, get access to episodes 7 days early, ask my guests questions, and get access to 20 plus videos and 10 plus visual guides just for joining. We are going to be the biggest mindset group in the world. My podcast has granted me the privilege of being able to speak to some of the most successful people in the world. I love it, but I want to share the privilege with you. All of the things that I learn in your hands. My podcast will always be free for you guys to enjoy it. However, if you're somebody who likes to take the extra step and the initiative, which knowing you guys, that's you, I would highly recommend joining this group. Click the link in the description or in the show notes, and I'll see you in the group. Now, let's get back to the episode. And even this whole idea of like reframing, kind of going back to my first point, is, in MMA, making the walk, for those of you guys that know, like when you're competing, it's very, very nerve wracking, very nerve wracking. And what oftentimes happens is coach will tell their, and even John Jones says this, they'll tell their fighters, you have these butterflies, but why do they have to be bad? Maybe this is the culmination of all the 3 months of your fight camp into today. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe instead of, oh my God, you're scared, you're nervous because you're excited. Small things like that. And I know all of my athletes know that, that phrase, like, no, you're just excited. Those butterflies, you're excited. Just reframing stuff. I think that's a huge, huge advantage that you can put for yourself. That's actually something that Haley Perlis, one of my guests, also talked about, is this whole idea of pressure being a privilege, being able to reframe stuff. It was just absolutely amazing episode. I suggest you guys check it out as well. They also found that like training your self-compassion, which sounds like so interesting, right? Can cut your bad like beliefs in half. So those people will bounce back faster. If you have a failure, of course you're gonna be down in the dumps. But I think the people that are doing very well for themselves are the ones that have failures, but they bounce back faster, right? You have one end on the spectrum of the people who fail, right? They go down and they stay down. It's like the baseline's down here now. That's how they are. And then maybe they go a little bit up, times get better, times change a little bit. But then you have the person who goes down and as fast as he can, he gets back up, right? He's self-compassionate. Hey, you know what? Failure happens. It's okay. What can I learn from this? How can I recover from this? Again, reframing your experiences, reframing your thoughts. Instead of saying, oh my God, I'm such a failure. I've been doing this thing for 10 hours. Why am I so bad at this? It's like, hey, I did this for 10 hours, but I'm definitely not the first person to not be good at this, to have to work extra hard on this. And I know that if other people can do it, so can I. I have always had this thought of like, hey, if somebody else can do it, so can I. But then I heard Ilya Taporia on Joe Rogan's show, and he said, if anybody can do it, so can I. And if nobody has done it yet, I can be the first, which I love so much. It's really stuck with me. Guys, mindset is the thing. Be compassionate towards yourself, be nice, reframe failures, and understand you are the biggest investment you can make in yourself. Can you imagine how much of your bad thoughts are costing you your life? I don't think that you can find your true self externally. I love helping people. And I've noticed, genuinely, guy, I'm gonna be honest with you guys for a second. I've noticed that I have a little bit of a people pleasing tendency. I've noticed it. But the thing is, I realized that, helping other people makes me feel good, but it's not the thing that completes me. The thing that completes me is working on myself. I don't want this to be the cliche, hit the gym, do this, wake up 5 a.m. It's not working on yourself in that way, but it's like mentally, physically as well, right? But mentally, if you put the investment into yourself, that's the only thing that you can ask of yourself. Nobody's going to cheer for you like you can cheer for yourself. People can believe in you, but they can't believe in you as much as you believe in yourself. And also, people can believe in you as much as they want, but if you don't believe in yourself, what does that amount to? What does that give you? What is that going to do for you? Nothing. If every single person, if you had 6 billion people in the world telling you, dude, you should start a YouTube channel. Oh my God, you're going to be the best. You're going to be the best comedian in the world. I'm telling you, you're the funniest dude ever. But you have no belief in yourself. What does that amount to? And on the end of the spectrum, what about nobody believes in you? Because guess what? That's a lot of people's cases, but you believe in yourself more than anybody else. The chances of success are a lot higher for you because you're going to keep going despite the outside evidence and the outside, things that are going on and the other people cheering you and then telling you how good you're doing. You don't always need the reinforcement. And if you believe in yourself more than anybody else, you are going to be the one to take initiative in your life because nobody else can do that for you. It's not the event that defines you guys. It's the story you tell yourself about the event. And you get to choose that story. Just like Derek Sivers said, choose something that's useful, not true. You don't need it to be a true statement. Something that Andy Frisell talked about is he doesn't really believe that his employees are going to starve if he doesn't show up to work and do his job. But guess what? That's a pretty useful thought to get him out of bed. It does the trick. When you're running and you have half a mile to go and you're giving it all you have, and then you imagine that there's a dog chasing you and you start to speed up, that's not true. There's no dog. It's all in your head, but it's useful. It gets you your last 0.5 miles. It makes you speed up. It does the thing. Think about, guys, think about the thoughts that are useful to you. They don't have to be true, but they have to be useful to you. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys next Tuesday. And again, link in the description, link in the show notes. Make sure to check out my community to get access to 20 plus videos, 10 plus visual guides, episodes 7 days early, and access to the people that I speak to, and for you guys to have the opportunity to ask questions to. Peace, guys. Love you.